Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the course Radar Engineering. This is the second consecutive lecture on the topic MTI signal processing, which is a part 2, the continuation of the previous lecture from the same module MTI and pulsar Doppler radar. With this lecture, I am going to wind up the module 3. The contents which are planned for the today's presentation including the design issues in the digital MTI Doppler signal processor. In the previous lecture we have talked about the digital MTI Doppler signal processor, the block diagram description. So today we are going to talk about some of the design issues related to that. In detail we are going to cover some of the requirements for A to D converter and how this A to D converter is going to impact on the improvement factor. And at last we have some application oriented topic. It's a application of the MTI processing. It is known as moving target detector. Okay, it is known as original MTD, and finally I will conclude with the references. A quick recap that I am going to take from the previous lecture. We have discussed already the block diagram description of this MTI Doppler signal processor, which has in phase channel, quadrature phase channel, and both the channels are differ by 90-degree phase angle, and how the information is recovered completely with the help of these two channels. The information lost due to I channel can be recovered using Q channel, and the information lost in the Q channel can be recovered in I channel. The concept of quadrature channel is effectively discussed in the previous lecture with the help of blind phases. Okay, for time being we have considered in this block diagram a single delay line canceller as a part of the block diagram because we have included only one delay. Okay, the design issues in digital MTI Doppler signal processor. So some of the issues which really matters a lot when you do some design on MTI signal processor. So how many number of delay lines that we have to consider, or number of pulses which are required for processing in the delay line canceller is also very important, and what type of digital memory that you are going to choose is also a matters. A conventional acoustic delay lines are replaced by digital memory, and what type of memory that you are going to choose. Are you going to store the information temporarily or permanently? Based upon the requirement of what size we are going to take a particular type of a digital memory. Okay, and based upon the antenna rotation rate, because your antenna will be rotating at the receiver in a scanning mode. So based upon at what rate the antenna rotates, based on that the memory requirement is all about. And very important, as a part of the MTI processing, the selection of A to D converter plays a very important role. So we have to clearly look upon the considerations in A to D converters. What type of A to D converter that really you are going to consider, and the requirements for A to D converter is matters a lot. And at last the type of D to A converters, okay, etc. There are a number of issues, design parameters. but these are the highlighted design parameters. Okay, when you look into the signal processor block diagram. What are the requirements for A to D converter? When you take any analog to digital converter, the 3 steps which normally follows start from the sampling process, next quantization, at last encoding. In the sampling process, the selection of the sampling rate is very crucial. Referring the sampling theorem, choose the appropriate value for the sampling rate. So in this or at the context of radar, specifically MTI radar or pulsed Doppler radar, we are interested to extract the complete cycle of the FD at the receiver. In order to measure the complete cycle of the FD value, we require a sufficient samples at the receiver to measure the complete cycle of the FD. So as we have seen in the last lecture discussion, to measure the complete cycle of the FD, at least we require some necessary selection of PRF. The PRF should be equals to at least 2 times FD or greater than 2 times FD. From the Nyquist criteria, it is equals to 2 times FD. So the sampling rate is very crucial. And what type of quantizer that you are going to use, and how many number of bits you are going to choose in the A to D converter. Is it a 10-bit A to D converter or 12-bit A to D converter? As number of bits increases, okay, it affects a lot in the performance of the MTI. Okay, slowly we are going to come back on the effects of number of bits on the limits on the performance parameters of the MTI. How the value of n matters a lot, and whenever you choose any A to D converter, the parameters like accuracy, precision, resolution are very important in the consideration of A to D converter. So how accurately your A to D converter is going to give the digital equivalent value, and how precisely it will convert, and what is the resolution of the A to D converter, how it is going to split the entire area of the analog domain into digital. The requirements for the A to D are not very difficult actually to meet the today's technology. Okay, with respect to this MTI radar is concerned, this is one method how the sampling rate has to be selected. Assuming a resolution, it is an example value, assuming a resolution of 150 meters. What is the resolution of the radar? During the range measurement, okay, if you are able to identify the two targets are different targets, okay, if they are separated by some particular distance, okay, that is equals to c tau by 2. C tau by 2. C is the velocity of light or speed of light, and tau is the pulse width. Okay, if the distance between the two targets are at least separated by c tau by 2, then only your radar can able to resolve those two targets are different targets. If the distance between the two targets are not separated by at least c tau by 2, then your radar treats that those two targets are part of the single target. Okay, here I am assuming a resolution of 150 meters. I am going to provide a resolution of 150 meters. This is expected. For this requirement, if the received signal has to be sampled at intervals of c by 2 r resolution, okay, equals to 1 microsecond. 1 microsecond. This is the tau value. Okay, if this is equals to 1 microsecond, the ratio c by 2 r resolution, the sampling rate should be the inverse of this, 1 megahertz. 1 megahertz. Okay. Okay, based upon the resolution, you can choose the sampling rate. And what is the memory requirement? Say for example, if your antenna, if it rotates 5 rotations per minute, and if it takes 12 seconds to cover a 5 rotations per minute, okay, a rotation period, actually antenna rotation period of 12 seconds, so approximately 5 rotations per minute, the storage requirement would be only 12 megabytes per scan. For one scan, for one rotation, a 12 megabytes can be the memory requirement. Okay, it is just an example. So what are the parameters that really affects or related to the selection of these requirements? The limits on improvement factor due to A to D converter. Okay, the improvement factor, it's one of the performance measure of MTI radar. We all know that. The alternative measure is clutter attenuation. In order to remove the clutter echoes or clutter completely from the filter, you need to increase the clutter attenuation by attenuating the large amount of clutter spectrum. Okay, the weakness of the clutter attenuation is considered, and alternatively the IEEE suggested to go for expressing the measure in terms of improvement factor. It also takes the gain of the filter into consideration along with the clutter attenuation. Okay, how the selection of A to D converter will impact on the limits of on the improvement factor. Okay, if I take some value of, say for example, if I take 10 bits for A to D converter, what is the maximum improvement factor that can be achieved by the MTI radar? That is a concept. If I increase the value of n, if I take 12 bits, will the improvement factor increases or reduces? Okay, what is the limits on the improvement factor due to the proper selection of the A to D converter? Okay, as I rightly said, the number of bits in the A to D converter which determines the maximum improvement factor. Okay, the MTI radar can achieve. How much your MTI radar can able to achieve the value of improvement factor? Improvement factor is equals to the product of clutter attenuation and the average gain of the DLC. Okay, and quantization noise. So this is one of the major issue of A to D conversion during the quantization process. According to Schrader, the quantization noise introduced by the discrete nature of the A to D converter, which causes on average a limit to the improvement factor. So this is the empirical equation given by the Schrader. Okay, by increasing the value of n, okay, by increasing the value of n, the quantization noise reduces, thereby you can improve the improvement factor. Okay, the improvement factor approximately equals to 20 log of 2 to the power n minus 1 into 0.75. This is the empirical equation. Okay, if n equals to 1, we get 6 dB approximately. For every 1 bit increment, we get approximately 6 dB increment in the improvement factor. So it is approximately 6 dB per bit. Okay, if I take a 10 bit A to D converter, we can able to achieve a maximum limit of improvement factor approximately equals to 60 dB. If I take 12 bit A to D converter, 12 into 6 dB, 72 dB. Okay, in practice, one or more extra bits to achieve the desired performance. Okay, it is as per the requirement. Dynamic range. This is also one of the very important considerations of the MTI signal processing. So when I was discussing about the advantages of MTI digital processing, I mentioned about this digital MTI processing provides a greater dynamic range. Okay, what is dynamic range? Okay, the ratio signal to noise ratio. Okay, it is very important. What is the maximum signal to noise ratio that can be handled by the A to D converter without any saturation? What is the maximum signal to noise ratio that can be handled by the A to D converter without saturation? So this is the equation which is related to the number of bits n, where k is some constant which is in the denominator. Okay, it represents the RMS noise level divided by the quantization interval. Okay, how many intervals? 2 power n minus 1. 2 power n minus 1. The output of the phase detector produces, okay, the signal into 2 power n minus 1. It spreads. The larger the k, the lower the dynamic range. Okay, how much it can able to handle, the A to D converter, the ratio signal to noise ratio. Okay, it is very important. If a signal strength is sufficient enough, then the ratio becomes considerable. Okay, and your A to D converter can able to handle it without any saturation. That depends upon the value of n. Okay, as k decreases, the dynamic range increases. Okay, where k in turn indicating the ratio of RMS noise level divided by quantization interval. Okay, as n increases, the quantization interval increases. As the denominator in this k increases, this k value decreases. As this k value decreases, the dynamic range reduces. It will lower the dynamic range. Okay, it alternatively representing when k is less than 1, this results into reduction of the sensitivity of the A to D converter. How sensitive your A to D converter in handling the given signal? Okay, it talks about that. A 10-bit A to D converter approximately gives a dynamic range of 45.2 dB. And finally, I am interested to show an example of MTI processing system that will produce the improved detection of moving targets in the presence of the clutter, and it is normally referred as original MTD, and it was originally developed by the MIT Lincoln Laboratory for airport surveillance radar in the US. This lab is situated in the US, and the purpose of developing this original MTD is to control the local air traffic in the presence of the clutter. And some of the characteristics of the original MTD are as listed. You can see the operating band of this original MTD is from 2.7 to 2.9 gigahertz. Basically it is referred to S band, and the pulse width is 0.6 microsecond, and the azimuth beam width related to the antenna in the horizontal plane is 1.35 degrees. The antenna rotation rate, the antenna rotates at a rate of 12.8 rpm. The average pulse repetition frequency is 1040 hertz. The average power 875 watts, and the range coverage, it covers approximately a range of 60 nmi. This is a complete picture of the original MTD. It includes several very important blocks: 3 pulse canceller, 8 pulse Doppler filter bank, frequency domain weighting, and the adaptive thresholding, the clutter map, zero velocity filter. Okay, the main purpose here is to control the local air traffic in the presence of the clutter. With this intention, the MIT Lincoln lab, in the lab, people have developed for airport surveillance radar. It is known as original MTD. What's the use of 3 pulse canceller? The 3 pulse canceller, which reduces the dynamic range of the signals, which the Doppler filter bank has to handle it, and also at the same time it compensates for the lack of adequate cancellation of stationary clutter in the Doppler filters. So that is the purpose of 3 pulse canceller. So it will take 3 pulse at a time. So it is equivalent to double delay line canceller. 8 pulse Doppler filter bank, and it will separate a moving targets from the moving weather clutter if they appeared in different Doppler filters. So there are 8 pulses at a time. Okay, what is the meaning of moving weather clutter? A moving weather clutter, it may be a rainstorm or moving birds with a non-zero Doppler shift. With the help of this filter, we are able to separate the moving targets which are desired from the moving weather clutter, and the target echo signal power appear in different Doppler filters. The clutter echo will not interfere with the detection of the desired moving target. The moving clutter echo can be easily eliminated by the 8 pulse Doppler filter bank. The main purpose of having this block in this original MTD is to remove or eliminate the moving clutter echo, because During the reception of the echo signals, we cannot predict what type of echo will be received. It may be from the desired moving target, or it may be from the stationary clutter, or some of the echoes may be corresponds to the moving clutter. So this 8 pulse Doppler filter bank is designed in such a way that it will allow only moving targets desired, and it will easily eliminate the moving clutter echoes. The frequency domain weighting, and this block is usually used to reduce the Doppler filter side lobes. When you have a frequency response, okay, when you have a frequency response or the filter characteristics, you should not have any side lobes, which results into unwanted bandwidth distribution. So this block is used to reduce the Doppler filter side lobes for better clutter attenuation. We all know that the alternate PRFs can be used to eliminate the blind speeds and to unmask the aircraft echoes from the weather clutter. Okay, what is the necessity of this adaptive thresholding? It is adaptive. In the second module, we have clearly understood the concept of thresholding, threshold selection. Based upon the thresholding only, we can able to allow the detection of moving targets in stationary and moving clutters, in the presence of stationary and moving clutters. The threshold selection is very, very important. If any echo which crosses the threshold or equals to the threshold, then that is considered as the desired echo. The proper selection of the threshold is very, very important, and we should try to avoid the false alarms. And the last very important block is the clutter map. A conventional MTI processor, okay, which will eliminate only stationary clutter, which eliminates stationary clutter, but it also eliminates the aircraft moving on a crossing trajectory. The meaning is, actual filter or a processor, it should eliminate only stationary clutter or clutter related information or echoes. But at the same time, if it eliminates a aircraft moving on a crossing trajectory, we have studied when the target and the radar are in same line of sight, then only your radar can able to measure its velocity. The direction of the target is also important. If it is in same trajectory, then your radar can able to identify. If your target moving perpendicular to the radar cross section or radar crossing trajectory, then your MTI processor cannot identify. It will eliminate stationary clutter, but also it eliminates aircraft moving on a crossing trajectory, which causes aircraft's radial velocity to be 0. Actually it is moving. The radial velocity is not exactly equal to 0. Since it is not in line of sight to the radar axis, it will identify that radial velocity is equal to 0, the 0 velocity. Since the radar cross section of the aircraft is relatively large, the radar cross section of the aircraft is relatively large, by taking the advantage of that cross sectional area of the target, okay, those targets which are lost by the MTI processor can be easily detected. Okay, for that purpose the clutter map is used to save those aircrafts, okay, which are moving on a crossing trajectory. Those targets has to be detected even though those radial velocities are equals to 0 as identified by the MTI processor. We can able to identify those targets also with the help of clutter map. The main purpose of the clutter map is to identify those aircrafts whose radial velocity is identified as 0. Okay. In the clutter memory, in the clutter map, the magnitudes of the clutter echoes are stored. Okay, we have a digital memory. In the clutter map, the magnitude of the clutter echoes are stored in the digital memory, and this clutter map establishes the thresholds used for the detection of those aircraft targets which produce 0 radial velocity. Here we have a 0 velocity filter. Okay, this 0 velocity filter had to be re-established, okay, in order to produce the clutter map. The 3-pulse canceller which will remove all the echoes with 0 velocity, and this 0 velocity filter had to be re-established in order to produce the clutter map. And this is how the original MTD has originally developed in US with those following characteristics. These are the references I have referred completely the textbook which is written by Merrill I. Skolnick. The title of the textbook is Introduction to Radar Systems, the 3rd edition one from the TMH publications. This is the one book I have referred completely for radar systems, and I would like to acknowledge Dr. Robert M. O'Donnell, who may be the expert in this radar systems. I have referred Radar Systems Engineering Lecture 12 Clutter Rejection Part 1 Basics of Moving Target Indication, a guest lecture PPT delivered by this person at IIT New Hampshire section. So this is a one reference. Hardly I took 2 to 3 slides from this content, and completely I have referred this textbook, and this is the only book which is specially written for radar systems, and in most of the universities this book is majorly prescribed for radar systems course. Introduction to Radar Systems by the Merrill Skolnick. Also there is one more book, the Radar Handbook, also written by the same author. From the same author we have another book, that is a handbook on radar systems, and normally that reference is to be given for masters MTech programs. Thank you.